guys, welcome to our lovely Kizuri farm. Thank you for continuing to subscribe and like our videos. Today it will be the last video for on the tips of onion farming, and this is during the time when your crop is in the field just after transplant. So during this period, your crop will undergo 3 different stages. The first one being the establishment stage. Then we'll move to the vegetative stage, and the final, the bulbing stage of the onion. So after giving the crop like a week to settle in the soil, I start the feeding program. That's the first thing I do. So I will feed my crop with NPK. The N is for the nitrogen to help in the leaf formation, since I had just cut the leaves prior to transplanting, on the day of transplanting, sorry. And also the phosphorus is important for the root development and early development of the crop, because this time we've just transplanted the crop. And also the potassium is helping in the disease resistance, so the crop needs to be helped with this feeding so that it can establish better. So that I do 1 week after I transplant, and I've given the crop enough time to settle in the farm. So like 4 days after doing the feeding of with the NPK, and by there you can use DAP, depends with your soil. And after doing your soil tests, follow the advice from that. So 4 days after I did the top dressing, I now give my crop an optimizer and nimecidine spray. The optimizer, it's a folio fertilizer, organic folio fertilizer, and the nimecidine is also, it repels insects and pests basically, but it's also an organic let's say pesticide. Very good. It works very good on thrips, and those affect onions. Finally, I will apply a fungicide and a pesticide, but this time it's just as a preventative spray that I do on the crop. For the fungicide, I've been using Trinity Gold. Very good product. For me, it's been working very well. And the pesticides, okay, hardly use pesticides because the nimecidine works very well. So when I see maybe insects somewhere, that's the time I use, or pesticide, that's the time I use the fungicide. But most of the cases I tend not to use them. But one thing that continues is continuous weeding. Weeding continues all the time. Make sure your farm looks clean, and that way you also reduce the chances of diseases. Here in the vegetative stage, we're still looking at feeding and spraying of your crop. On the feeding, we are going to do this 30 to 35 days after you did your previous first top dressing. This is the second top dressing. So for me, I use Yarabella Sulfan or NPK. In this case, I use both of them. Sulfan was out of stock. So here they still have good NPK balance. For the NPK is 1717, and they all help in the leaf development, growth development, and the energy of the crop, so that it can establish faster and stronger with less disease chances. Just like the other stage, the vegetative stage, here I also will do continuous weeding, and after like 4 days after I do the second top dressing, I'll also do another nimecidine and optimizer spray, and also follow up that 10 days after, or 2 weeks later, I'll also do another preventative coat of fungicide and pesticide, just in case I see any pests in the area. Another thing to note is watering is key here, so ensure your crop gets adequate water, because it needs a lot of energy to develop healthy looking leaves, because with the big leaves it will have more capacity to make more food during the next stage, which is the bulbing stage. In the final stretch of our onion farming journey, we are looking at the bulbing stage. Here we still look at the feeding and the spray program. We feed the crop 45 days after the first top dressing, or like two weeks after we did the second top dressing during the vegetative stage. After which, after like 2 weeks, I also do a preventative fungicide and pesticides, so that now the crop can be have a preventative coat. But I still do scouting to observe the leaves and observe how the crop is doing. That I do as I do the weeding, so it's a continuous thing. For the nemacidin and the optimizer, you do more of the nemacidin here, because the leaves right now are not really in need of much of the nutrients, so I mostly do the nemacidin, which helps in the any pests that might affect the crop during the bulbing stage. And guys, with those tips, I think you guys should be good, and hopefully you'll be able to have successful harvests. And if you have questions, feel free to ask and write comments, and continue liking and subscribing. In the next video, I'm starting a whole new journey on the onion farming, and hopefully it will be on a bigger scale than what I'm doing now. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for the support. Take care. Peace.